Well, the Supreme Court begins a new term today with just 8 justices following the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The justices face a docket of cases with implications for millions of American families and some of the biggest companies in the country, including a challenge to the Affordable Care Act that could strip protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But the biggest question may be the court's next member, as President Trump's nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, awaits her confirmation hearings. ABC's Terry Moran joins me now with more. And Terry, at least 2 Republican senators on that Judiciary Committee have now tested positive for coronavirus. How could that affect these confirmation hearings?
Well, Eva, according to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, it won't affect them at all. Full steam ahead, quote unquote. That's what Mitch McConnell says should happen with these hearings. But there's no doubt that, as you point out, so far, 2 Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Mike Lee of Utah and Tom Tillis of North Carolina, have tested positive for coronavirus, and that it seems the super spreading event might well have been that reception and Rose Garden announcement for Amy Coney Barrett herself at the White House. That is awkward, to say the least. But the Republicans, even though the Senate is out of session for 2 weeks to try and get a handle on what might be an outbreak in the upper echelons of the Republican Party, they will go forward with the hearings 1 week from today. That is what McConnell vows. Now, they may be virtual, and that is what McConnell is proposing. Democrats, of course, say that we need to understand, they need to understand, Senate workers, everyone who comes in contact with the members of the Judiciary Committee and their staffs, need to understand what this outbreak is like. It's new, frankly. It's just a few days old, and they think that a delay is required. What Mitch McConnell says the real problem is, because the Republicans do have the votes to go forward next week, the real problem is, will too many Republicans get sick, and will the vote have to be delayed? Will they not be able to vote?
Okay, let's talk about what this current court is looking at. There's some key cases the court will take up this term. What and when can we expect those decisions?
Well, the biggest case right now on the Supreme Court docket has to do with health care, everyone's health care. Right now, health care is still under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, with its protections for people with pre-existing conditions, guaranteeing access to health care for every American, including those with pre-existing conditions. A case out of Texas before the justices says that since the Congress repealed that individual mandate requiring everybody to get health insurance, the entire law must now be struck down, and with it, those protections for people with pre-existing conditions, the ability for young people up to the age of 26 to remain on their parents' health insurance, and so many things that are quite popular about that law would disappear. And remember, Donald Trump has been promising a health care plan for more than a year, and there is no sign of it. He put out some vacuous executive orders, so there's a lot at stake here. In addition to that case, however, there are also many other cases, including a very important abortion case, which is coming to the justices out of the state of Mississippi. Eva?
So many cases that many Americans will be watching. Terry Moran in Washington for us. Thank you, Terry.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.